All right, what's up, guys? It is Saturday, the 17th of April. How is everybody today? Hope you guys had a good Friday night. Hopefully NBA DFS worked out for you well. If you stacked the Detroit boys, you're off to a good start. Not that they weren't popular, not that a lot of people didn't get there, but they weren't as popular as I would have anticipated. Probably like classic NBA DFS these days, there was 8 million good plays and you couldn't play everybody. We're going to get back at it today. Let's try to have ourselves another solid night of NBA DFS. Bellman will be on later to talk about baseball, and then hopefully everybody gets an opportunity to enjoy some warmer weather if you've got it in your region right now. Never hesitate to click that thumbs up button. Helps us out a ton. I appreciate when you guys do that. If you want to make any comments, they are there in the comments section. And I want to reiterate, we got chat up now via the website. Just go to the 5-Pack website, click on the Let's Chat button. If you got any DFS questions, we are around sporadically to answer them. Weekly memberships and monthly memberships available for the website. Available through the website. If you try a weekly membership, I will rebate you $10 off your first week. So you get a full week of baseball and a full week of NBA for only $5. Subscribe to the station if you're new to it. Now, let's talk about a cash game look for the day. Tristan Thompson is getting a lot of attention right now, along with a variety of the other Celtics. He is likely, to me, going to be the most popular center on the slate. And the reason for that are a couple of them. One, no Bob Williams. He is out again today. We know Thies is no longer on the team. So this really leaves Tristan to be the sole center. Now, it is possible for the Celtics to go small. Against Golden State, they're not a very big team, so you don't always need a center. So for me, I like it better for cash games. I think he's going to be very, very popular. So even if he's only blah, you can probably ride this in cash games and still be successful. I do have some interest in the GPP fade right here. Not that I think Thompson will be bad, just that I think there is a potential that you could get, I don't know, maybe big value from somebody else. And we'll break that down a little bit later in members only. There's a couple other places you can go on center. We'll talk about one of them here at the end of the video as well. I do think he makes a lot of sense. And if you like it and you want to play him in GPPs too, I think your points are valid. I just think it makes more sense to me in cash games. And I think there's a discussion to be had about playing him in GPPs today. 1 point for him, though. They matched up together in the finals when he was a Cavalier against the Warriors for a long time. He's like a hustle type of guy. He's not a guy that gets plays drawn for him, so he doesn't need to be a good shooter from the outside. I could see a little extra hustle in his bustle today as he goes after a team that there's a little bit of a rivalry perhaps still in his mind. And for a guy who's out there mostly to get rebounds and putbacks and stuff like that, that's not a bad thing. I like that better for a guy like him than I do for, say, like a jump shooter, for example. So that is another feather in the cap for Tristan Thompson today. Next up, let's talk about Kobe White. So we talked about Kobe White for a while yesterday, knowing that Zach LaVine was going to be out for a while. The Bulls are pretty desperate for wins. I look at it this way. I think Kobe was chomping at the bit to get a significant rollback with this Chicago Bulls team. And when you're missing Zach LaVine, you're missing like 20 shots a game and just a butt ton of usage right there. So it was really good for Kobe not to have Zach around. Now, the kicker came when Satoransky, who looked like he was likely to play, all of a sudden got ruled out. So the way I look at Kobe today, if Satoransky is out, I think Kobe will be very, very popular. We saw him drop 45 DK points in a harder matchup last night than when he gets today with Cleveland. However, if Satoransky plays today, I do think that will eat into Kobe White a little bit. He'll still get attention. It's not a very big slate. He just balled last night. And the absence of Zach LaVine is more important than the absence of Satoransky. I mean, it is plausible, though, that if Satoransky plays, he starts, Kobe comes off the bench and goes back to playing 20 minutes a game, maybe 25, something like that, and only is a okay play, or he doesn't shoot the ball quite as well. I personally think Kobe is a lock of locks if Satoransky doesn't play, and still probably a decent play if Satoransky is in there. The thing that would make me question it more than anything is if Tomas Satoransky plays and Kobe White is not in the starting lineup and they go somewhere else. Chicago's a very deep team. We know their best players are Vooch and LaVine. We know LaVine's out for a few more games at least after this. And after that, they got a whole bunch of different players, whether you're talking Thad Young, Patrick Williams, Denzel Valentine, a lot of different guys who can participate. So those are my thoughts on Kobe White for the day. Next up, Jeremy Grant, cover boy for the day. So one, is he supposed to play? As of right now, it looks like Detroit was resting a bunch of guys last night, and that Jeremy Grant, along with Plumlee and maybe a few other guys, will be in the lineup tonight. Could Detroit pull some stuff here? Yeah, they definitely could. So you're going to want to watch this one. I wanted to talk about Detroit because I think they're a really good team to take a look at today. They're on my good side after the fearsome foursome of Bay, Jackson, Stewart, and Killian Hayes were so great for us last night. But I don't think their pecking order is very clear right now. This is a team that's clearly tanking, not trying to win anymore. They're not playing for anything. And while Washington is a really, really good matchup, their defense has been on the rise, and their pace has been down just a little bit as of late as well. So maybe not as great of a matchup as we have seen in recent memory. You've seen them with some lower scoring games lately. They had a good matchup with the Pelicans last night. It went to OT, so it was awesome, but it was only okay during the day. I know Ingram was great for us, so that was awesome. But also the game against the Kings the other day, a little bit lower scoring. If the Pistons sit a bunch of guys, though, you're probably going to want to go right back here. It might be different guys today. Maybe Killian Hayes is out and Corey Joseph is back. Maybe Corey Joseph sits again and Killian Hayes is a starter and you got to run right back there. If Grant is starting and playing, I'm going to assume that he is going to get his full allotment and full run of minutes. When he has played lately, he's been good. His price tag is down even further. He darn near averages GPP value on this price tag. The more people that are out for Detroit, the better. If Grant starts today and Detroit's like full of bodies and Grant's really, really popular, I'm not saying it's the best way to go, but I would be intrigued more by the GPP fake because I think Grant will be very popular today at this price tag against Washington. But if like Detroit's full on bodies, there's always the possibility of a blowout, right? Detroit's not a very good team. Washington has a lot to play for. They don't. In which case, Grant would probably be one of the first guys off the court. So we'll check ownership stuff later in the day. Obviously, it's going to change over the next 7 or 8 hours. I do think Detroit deserves a lot of your attention. Worst case scenario for the Pistons, though, today, they have everybody. And that makes them really hard to get to because then they are deep on bodies once again. All right, so the flip side of this, let's talk about the Washington Wizards. Let's talk about Daniel Gafford. So the Wizards made a trade to get Daniel Gafford and Chandler Hutchinson. And while that didn't mean a lot to most people, nor should it, the Pistons like the defense of Daniel Gafford. The Wizards like the defense of Daniel Gafford more than what they think they're getting from Alex Len, for example. So we've seen Gafford mostly very good. While he has been a member of the Washington Wizards, he had his best game as a Wizard last night. They definitely want to get him in there. Like the Alex Len experiment hasn't gone anywhere. They like the defense. Gafford at least knows he does a better job of being in the right place to provide some sort of back-end defense for them, which they desperately need. I like Gafford a little better if Bertans is out. Not that Bertans plays center, but you can go small from time to time against Detroit if you want to. And Bertans can sometimes run at the 5, or Rui can run at the 5. If Bertans is out, it's just a subtle little bump for Daniel Gafford, nothing major. If this game gets a little lopsided, he can see extended run. I don't think it's completely insane that he's the starter for Washington today. I would look for that. I don't think that's the likely outcome, but I think it's definitely plausible. So we're going to have a bunch of guys in play today at the center position, and Gafford's about $1,000 cheaper than Tristan Thompson. And I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him outscore him. I think Thompson is the much better playing cash games and has every opportunity to be better than Daniel Gafford today. Trust me, it's no lock that Gafford would outscore him. But if you're trying to be a little bit different, like let's say you're setting a GPP lineup and it's very, very cashy as far as, who you got in there. And you want to make that one move and this helps you upgrade a different position. This could be like the one move in GPPs, Maybe Gafford gets you 27 and Thompson's only 24. So you get 3 points and $1,000. All right, last up, let's talk about Dillon Brooks. So I like Brooks a lot for upside today. I also think he's a very risky play. I think he is legitimately a significantly better play within the GPP realm because I have him as more of like a boom bust type of guy, which is why I put him in long shots, despite the fact he's going to get decent attention today on a smaller slate like this. So he's had some nice games lately. I always prefer a guy who's playing well. I think the price tag is very fair at $5,400, and they're going to need his defense tonight as they take on my Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee. I would prefer him prefer him in the realm of GPPs and cash games. I find him very boom busty. So I talk about this, 3 times a week probably. You guys are probably sick of hearing it. But Milwaukee Bucks have a very, very specific game plan of how they want to defend teams. They clog the lane. Well, that's kind of something you need to do against Memphis. Between Jonas Valanciunas playing like a, darn near an all-star over the last month or two, and then Ja Morant not having much of an outside shot, but being an excellent point guard at getting into the lane, they will continue to clog the lane with defenders against the Memphis Grizzlies. They did it earlier this year when these teams matched up in Memphis, and Milwaukee hit the walk-off with Jrue Holiday in order to win the game. Brooks was fantastic that night with over 40 DK points, and he only shot 1 of 6 from 3. I think he's actually has room for growth in this if this game is competitive. I think another part of the risk here is you got Milwaukee now relatively full strength outside of Dante DiVincenzo. They're at home. They're not on a back-to-back. If they play their best game today with Memphis on a back-to-back and Milwaukee fresher, Milwaukee could win this one, relatively early if they're making their threes, for example. I don't think that's the most likely scenario. I kind of expect Memphis to hang around in this one, which is good for Dillon Brooks. And he has legit upside here. If he's making his threes and he's an erratic three-point shooter, 40-plus, again, is not outside the realm. I also think he's a high candidate for busting in this one, which is why I put him in the long shot section today. All right, y'all. That is the show for the day. I appreciate you guys watching. Click the thumbs up button. Have yourself a great day. And if you purchase a weekly membership, you get almost all of it back for week 1.